I, 29 male, recently had a baby with my now ex-girlfriend, 27 female. It wasn't exactly planned, but I embraced the idea of being a dad. When she told me she was pregnant, I was scared, sure, but I also felt this crazy excitement. I started imagining all these moments. First steps, bedtime stories, teaching him how to ride a bike. I even started picking up extra shifts at work to save up for a bigger place. My girlfriend and I had only been together for about a year when she found out she was pregnant. Things between us had been rocky at times, but I was committed. I wanted to be the kind of dad that was always there, not the one that walks out. So when my son was born 5 months ago, I was over the moon. The sleepless nights, the diaper changes, none of it mattered, because I love that little guy more than anything. But a few weeks ago, everything came crashing down. I don't even know how to explain it, but something just didn't sit right. Maybe it was the way my ex avoided talking about timelines, or maybe it was just my gut telling me something was off. Eventually, I couldn't ignore it anymore, and I decided to get a paternity test. I didn't tell her I was doing it. Part of me was hoping I was just being paranoid. Well, the results came back, and my world shattered. He wasn't mine. My son, the baby I'd been holding, feeding, bonding with, wasn't biologically mine. I confronted my girlfriend, and after a lot of tears and shouting, she admitted she'd fooled around the time she got pregnant. There were a couple dudes, and she didn't know who the father was and hoped it was me. I packed my things and left that night. I couldn't even look at her. I felt so betrayed, so humiliated. I can't even describe the pain of knowing that the child I loved so much wasn't actually mine. It felt like losing a part of myself. I contacted a lawyer the next day to figure out how to get my name off the birth certificate. I know that sounds harsh, but I don't want to be attached to the baby legally anymore. My ex has been blowing up my phone, saying I'm abandoning them both, that I'm cruel, that I'm punishing an innocent child. Maybe I am. I don't know. I still care about that baby. He didn't ask for any of this, but I'm not his father. It hurts so much. Part of me feels guilty. I did bond with him, and it's not his fault that any of this happened. But at the same time, I can't just overlook what she did. I can't lie to myself about being his father when I'm not. I'm not sure what's next for me. I've been trying to move forward, but it's hard. I keep thinking about that little boy and wondering if I made the right decision. I've been talking to my lawyer about my rights and what my responsibilities are in case I fail to completely detach myself from the child, and I'm hoping to find some clarity. Right now, thanks for listening, everyone. I'd love to hear from anyone who's been through something similar. How'd you get through it? Did you ever find peace with your decision? Story 2. Why do waywards feel entitled to keep the benefits of friendship? Hi all. Been lurking here for the past few months and have found this community incredibly helpful in processing my emotions. I'm 35 male and my soon-to-be ex is 36 female. Our relationship fell apart after 10 years of being together and 7 years of marriage. Here's my situation. Soon-to-be ex was my first serious relationship. I grew up in a quiet, respectful household and always struggled a bit with my self-worth and anxiety/mild depression. Her parents were divorced, and her family tends to yell out their emotions. In the early years of our relationship, I felt that we complemented each other's strengths well, each pulling the other towards the middle a little. We met before we'd settled into solid careers, and each supported the other as we completed education and worked towards solid jobs, often moving around a bit in the process. I suppose in those early years, there was more excitement and change. And in the latter years of our marriage, we'd bought a house, got a dog, and, settled into a more stable and mundane existence. I feel I treated her pretty well in the marriage. I've always been respectful, loving, and grateful, and did all the cooking and at least my fair share of the other chores around the house. My ex has always had a bit of a temper, which has never sat well with me, though she's always had a justification for her anger. Until the last years of our marriage, she'd direct her anger at others, but she began to get more and more critical, negative, and outright mean towards me, for, in hindsight, what were typically fairly minor issues. I honestly don't think I had changed much other than in a fairly positive way throughout the relationship. But man, it wore on me and really ate at my self-esteem at a point in my life where I was really actively trying to better myself and become more comfortable with being somewhat emotionally sensitive. Anyways, the ex made friends with a much older guy. Call him DB, short for dickbag. through one of her hobbies. He had a short fuse and's kind of known for being a prick and having little time for others. The ex has always bristled at the notion that men and women couldn't have platonic relationships and insisted that that was all this was ever going to be, constantly repeating that if I ever seemed uneasy about him. DB needed a place to live for a bit and stayed in the basement of our place for a few months. Though I've never really liked the guy, I made a decent effort at being a good host as I felt that he was her friend and owed it to her. After he moved out, the ex went on a trip with him and a few other people. While by themselves on the trip, he told her he had feelings for her. She came home, told me what happened, and that she was confused. She said she felt that the spark had gone out of our marriage and that she needed to fuck off for a bit. This hit me hard, and over the next few months, I did the pick me dance like crazy, bending over backwards to do everything I thought might convince her to stay. She eventually decided that I was the right choice as I made her feel special, but she still refused to cut off communication with DB, telling me both of us would have to accept our decision. Things seemed better for about 6 months. We went on a vacation together and renewed our mortgage, but gradually the anger and negativity crept back and I began to get a sick feeling in my gut. The ex decided to go on a long trip with DB, convincing me that I had to let her go if I trusted her. The whole week she was gone, I felt ill. I just knew in my gut that something was very wrong. When she came back, she told me that she'd kissed him on that trip and that we had to end. She swears up and down that it was just a kiss and that therefore she never cheated, as if the emotional stuff doesn't count. I immediately begged for us to go into therapy. We do 2 sessions of couples therapy and she throws in the towel. Not into it at all. We end up separating and the marriage is done. Though it takes me a good 6 months longer to really accept that and really begin to process my anger. We had to sell our house, split assets, and work on divorce proceedings. Throughout the process, she maintains that she did this solely because the marriage wasn't working, and she felt I'd never leave. She says that DB's influence had nothing to do with it, even though she's now living with him, and he's treating her like crap from the limited bit that I know about things, and that I should be grateful to her for doing a brave thing. She's alternated between being somewhat kind and nostalgic about our relationship and just livid with anger. So much so that I feel myself backpedaling and falling into this pit of self-hatred and depression whenever I have to interact with her. I've put up with her crap as I facilitated our separation, and now that we've been granted a court order for divorce, it's done. She's off traveling with DB right now, and when she returns, she's picking up the dog. She's taking it as she was the one that wanted it, the last of her crap from my place, and that should be it, in theory. Here's my rant. She's pissed at me because I don't want to be friends with her, and she can't believe that I want to cut her out of my life after 10 years of being together. It's like she has zero empathy for all the heartbreak and pain she caused, and she can't believe I'm not over it. The kicker is that she wants me to stay in contact in part so that I can help her take care of the dog, not out of any real compassion for me. I'm currently dating a wonderful girl that treats me so much better than my ex ever did, and my soon-to-be ex is the only real source of tension for us. I'm damned if I'm going to let my ex take that happiness away from me. She's been gaslighting me lately, saying that I'm super easy to manipulate, and I'm just being manipulated by people telling me to go no contact. Please, Redditors, tell me I'm in the right to do this. It'd be good to hear some reassurance. Man, you're absolutely in the right to cut her off. What she's doing is classic manipulation. The whole let's stay friends angle is just her way of keeping a foot in the door. And honestly, it's not for your benefit. It's for hers. She's already proven she'll put her own wants over your well-being. And now she wants to keep getting the benefits of your friendship without giving anything back. That's not how it works, especially after all the betrayal and pain she's caused. You're moving on, building a healthier life, and you've got someone who treats you right now. Don't let her drag you back into her mess. She lost her right to your support the minute she disrespected your relationship and then tried to justify it. You deserve better. And honestly, she's got no place demanding anything from you. Going no contact is about protecting your peace. And it sounds like you're finally in a place where you can do that. Keep focusing on the positive things in your life. And don't let her guilt trip sway you. You're not being unreasonable. You're taking care of yourself. Stay strong, brother. You got this.